of children. I hate to see children being harassed. I hate to see children being bullied. I hate to see children being abused in any way, shape, or form. And a lot of times we don't realize that we're abusing our kids by the things that we say. So we think abuse is only physical, but there's verbal abuse, there's mental abuse, there's psychological abuse. There's so much abuse going on. And we don't seem to place priority on that. And we don't seem to recognize even that our behavior is abusive. And I just want to say, before I go in and introduce my first guest, be very careful how we treat our children. Be very careful the things we say to our children. It could be very detrimental to their upbringing, their ego, you know, their psyche at that age, especially with teenagers. It's very fragile. And the way we speak with them, the way we treat them could be damaging to that. You know, a lot of the times we see adults, especially women, and sometimes men. So I'm trying not to be gender specific here. But a lot of the times we see adults, they're, they cower. So you speak a little harshly to them, or you speak a little loudly to them, or you speak a little hard to them, and they just back off and they go into their shell and they don't. And sometimes, you know, they snap and you wonder, where did that come from? It's because of years and years of systematic abuse, psychologically, mentally, maybe even verbally. We have to be cognizant of the fact that our children, what we heap on them right now, is going to shape their future and what kind of adults they grow up to be. You know, I had an experience last night with a grandmother and her granddaughter, and it was very disturbing to me. You know, and I had to tell her, you know, to relax, give the child a chance, give the child a break to express herself. And she was been doing so well up until that point. And by the end of the conversation, I thought we were having a conversation. By the end of the conversation, I mean, I was called some vile names and I was cussed at and everything. And that really doesn't bother me too much because it's like they would say, "Sapa glo pumuye domwe." But at the same time, a child that you say you care so much about, you're cussing out another person in front of her. So what do you think the message is going to be? What do you think the takeaway from that is going to be? You know, we have to be very, very careful that when we say we care about our children and we are only concerned about their well-being, what our reaction is actually telling them. So our words are saying one thing, but our actions, this is what is most telling, this is what is most interactive, this is what the takeaway is going to be, you know. You could say one thing and behave a totally different way. And guess what is going to be the lasting effect? What's going to have the lasting effect? It's your reaction, it's your behavior. So try your best, adults, to interact with children, particularly teenagers, in a way that's going to contribute to them holistically so that when they become adults themselves, they know how to react and behave in certain circumstances and don't descend downwards into the gutter. Well, descend downwards, that's kind of a misnomer, but you know the point. You get what I'm trying to say here. You know, you're trying to elevate our children, not try to bring them down. Let's focus on that at all times with interaction with each other. Even though in private we cuss each other out, but especially in front of our kids, let's try to do the right thing. Let's try to be reasonable adults. Let's show our children the right thing, the right behavior, you know, that they can emulate. So having said all of that, it's carnival time. And my plate is very full, and which is why my preamble this evening was very, very short. And yes, it was very, very short. In addition to which, I don't want to stress my throat too much. So I'm going to introduce you my first guest. But before I do that, I just want to share some statistics with you. And I think it's very telling. And a lot of the times when I do these shows, I like to start off with the statistics because it will shock us into stopping and thinking and taking note. Did you know that 1 in 5 males in St. Lucia and 1 in 6 females will develop cancer in their lifetime? 1 in 5 males, 1 in 6 St. Lucian women will develop cancer in their lifetime. All of a sudden, I feel all my cancer cells activating right as I'm speaking this. Fortunately, these are changes. There are changes um, with everyday lifestyle practices that can prevent up to 30 to 50% of these cancers. And all of a sudden, the cancer cells are receding. I mean, these are things that we have to bear in mind. Today, tomorrow, you go to the doctor and you could very well get a diagnosis of cancer, but it doesn't have to be that way. And so my first guest this evening is from the St. Lucia Cancer Society, Dr. Tamara Remy. Welcome.
Thank you.
And she's here to talk to us about cancer. And you must be thinking, but what cancer have to do with carnival? Right in the middle of carnival, I want to enjoy myself while she's here. But it is important. I think a lot of the times when we're having a good time, we don't want to think about negative things. But this is a good thing because she's going to give us some information while we're enjoying ourselves, right?
Yes.
Right. So tell us why you're here.
Okay. My first mission really is to talk about cancer. And I want to speak about cancer in a way that people will want to hear. I want it to be a conversation where things are laid open on the table, where questions can be asked, where it's a conversation not filled with doom and gloom, and where the benefit really is to provide some messages, to give the education, and really just to start talking about cancer. Just like you said a while ago, you know, you start mentioning the statistics and you freeze. And there's a white elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it. But in the same breath, 2 seconds later, you can give all of the information that is needed that can probably stop quite a few people from actually getting cancer ever in their lifetime. And I think that that is why the whole decision to bring forth the conversation of cancer in a time when there are so many people looking at Carnival, that it was an ideal opportunity to use that forum.
Because you have a captive audience.
Yes.
Because everybody is just all ears, all eyes
Exactly.
towards Carnival.
Exactly.
And so you're slipping that message in there. And even
Exactly.
if not directly, but even if subliminally that they get the message, they're getting the message.
Exactly.
Right.
St. Lucian Carnival has blossomed into a huge event. Whether you're on the roads taking in the parade or whether you're at home watching the parade on TV, it's a huge audience. We're talking about tens of thousands of St. Lucians. And the decision, you know, it was why not use that audience? And so we're hoping that the same way you've mentioned that the colors will strike people, the concept of a t-shirt band, which is something very contrast to what the other bands are going to be having. And the messages will be very clearly displayed on the t-shirts. I think that we're hoping to have such a great impact in terms of getting that message out there.
Now, you talked a little bit earlier about tens of thousands of St. Lucians are going to be watching one way or another, whether it's on telly, whether it's on the street sides, whatever. Tens of thousands of St. Lucians are going to be watching, and hopefully you're going to impact them. But those statistics that I read earlier are not just St. Lucian within our St. Lucian context.
Exactly.
They're more leading towards the trend worldwide as well. And we do know that we have other visitors, other nationalities in St. Lucia for Carnival.
Exactly.
And watching on TV as well, or watching through the internet and that kind of thing. So you're also impacting a worldwide audience. So whatever information that you're giving to us in St. Lucia that we need desperately, but you're also going to be making an impact worldwide as well.
Yes. So that really is the first goal. The second thing is really to demonstrate, and you know, we're really hoping that some of our survivors, supporters of cancer patients, as well as just well-wishers and general St. Lucian supporters of the cause, will be able to show that, you know, you can have fun. You can do all of the things that everybody else is doing in the spirit of Carnival. So we're encouraging everybody to come and have a wonderful time with us. So while the primary goal is really just to create that awareness and to deliver messages, we're going to be having fun doing it. And as most people, I think, point out to us every time they call to inquire about the band, you know, they ask about the non-alcoholic drinks, etc., the healthy treats. And, you know, we appreciate that everybody has a choice. We appreciate a lot of other bands offer, a really good menu. But for us, it was important to stay true, really and truly, to the cause.
Right.
So
Because you
we
can't be
opted.
talking about cancer, and you can't be telling us like 30 to 50% of those cases could be avoided if we make lifestyle changes, and then
Exactly.
be doing the opposite to what you're saying that you should be doing to avoid getting the
Exactly,
cancer in the first place.
exactly.
Right.
And while some people will jump on the fact that no one says that no alcohol is going to prevent you from getting cancer, the truth is there really is no acceptable limit. Every day that limit for alcohol changes.
Right. Because
So before
at
you would
one point it
hear
used
a
to be
glass of wine a
right,
day,
exactly.
and now the question is, well, is that really helping us? So, we're just going to stick true to what we know, which is that, if you don't have alcohol, you kind of just
Right. You've just
tick off one thing, one
exactly.
other thing
Right,
that
right.
can predispose you to getting
And all
cancer.
the processed foods and all of that that
Exactly.
are almost synonymous with carnival, because you need things that are going to last, because you're going to be out on the road all day and you don't want, well, we want fresh food,
Yes.
but fresh food goes bad faster. So you have all
Exactly.
these processed foods, and that again are contributing factors to
Yes,
cancer.
they are. They are. I mean, we're not bashing anybody. We're just telling what it is that we're offering. And so throughout the band, what you will see is that we're sticking true to what it is that
So
the
there will
cause
be
is about.
refreshments during the jump up for
Yes,
your
we are
band
giving
members.
you a totally inclusive package.
So what
So
can we expect from your band?
So our band is going to be full of, the revelers. We're going to have our DJ on our music truck. We're going to have an assortment of healthy treats and snacks and food. We're going to have non-alcoholic drinks, lots of water as well.
Absolutely.
We're going to have sunscreen to protect you. And I don't want to dress up too much in the stuff that we're offering in terms of the package.
Right.
But we will be giving you visors and stuff, kind of in keeping with all of the things,
Right.
the skin cancer prevention, security,
Vital.
and exactly. And we're doing Carnival Monday only.
Okay, so it's a one-day
So
jump
it's
up.
one day, and we're doing the full experience. So
And that
it's,
makes sense,
yes.
because if you do the 2 days, and we know that rest, a lot of rest, your body needs time to recuperate from all the stresses that we put it through. If you're doing the 2 day jump up and then you're going to work the Wednesday, you're kind of defeating the purpose, because your body's not really getting that rest, because you've jumped up all of Monday and most of Tuesday. And so your body needs time to recuperate, but you're not getting that chance, because you've got to go back to work on Wednesday. So it kind of lends itself, don't you think?
Well, we didn't look at it that way, but that is an interesting way, because you would have gotten your exercise, you would have gotten your de-stressing and everything
Right.
else. But a lot of the concept for just one day, it's our first time on the road. We were not sure how that was going to go.
Right.
But more importantly, part of what we're hoping to do is to use some of the funds that we actually get, whether through sponsorship or from just the regular packages, to actually donate to a patient to help with their treatment. And we understand that having to provide and cater for 2 days
is going to take away
really
from
going to
that.
take away from that. One, the registration packages are going to be a little bit more expensive to account for all of that. And yes, we will be spending more money. So, we thought it was more important to actually use some of those funds.
And
to
your
actually
revelers
donate.
are okay with that?
Yes.
Right. Because you're actually catering to a discerning reveler, right? You're not really, I mean, your message is for all revelers, but the reveler who would jump in your band is a different beast to the reveler who would jump in maybe a Just for Fun or whatever other band that
Well,
there is out there.
we give you an option. So if for 1 year you decide that the
decided.
cause
Right.
is a little bit more important than, although we did come out a little bit late, so a lot of persons had already probably signed up with other
Right.
bands, but we were not selective at all. I do take your point that, the general trend is the alcohol perhaps and the different things, and people are affiliated with the different bands. But we really, once you're 18 and older, we willingly encourage you to come and jump with us. It's from 10 o'clock until maybe 6, 7 o'clock, 8 hours. No alcohol is definitely not going to kill you.
Enough exercise.
Enough
Whoa.
exercise. For those persons who have always wanted to jump but did not want to wear, a bathing suit or expose too much, we give you that option as well.
That may have been the year I would have jumped, had I thought. But then again, I think I just let an opportunity pass me by, because I swear when I was a kid, as soon as I turned 18, I was going to jump Carnival. because we didn't even weren't allowed to even watch carnival or go to carnival celebrations and whatnot. So I swear, you know what? I'm going to stick it to your mom and dad. As soon as it's an age, I'm joining carnival, and that never happened. So this may have been my year, but then I'm not even so
Yes.
well. So then again,
You'll
that
be
defeats
better
it.
by
Yeah, yeah.
then.
So maybe another year when you're having it again. But tell us about Oritis, New Beginnings. What does Oritis mean? Why Oritis? Why New Beginnings?
We wanted a name for the band that fit into what we're about. So Oritus means to start again, to arise, and hence Oritus New Beginnings. And that really is a shout out and appeal to all St. Lucians that this is now your opportunity to start afresh. So for all those people who are not exercising, who are not taking time to listen to their bodies, who are not doing the lifestyle changes that they actually need in order to be a healthier them, it's that opportunity. So it's like a call to action. And so our writers fit right into, I mean, we did quite a bit of research to get that name. And as you can tell from those people who've seen our logo is also representative. So we do have one of the cancer ribbons, and you'll see the different colors being represented there. So it was actually something that we dedicated quite a bit of time to selecting a name and selecting a logo that fit into us.
Now, when I asked this question, I didn't expect that it would be a platform for you now to talk to me directly. Because all of the things that you said, there are things that I'm always saying, yeah, you know, you have to start now, you have to start now, you have to start now. And I'm always finding a reason why to procrastinate and not start. So this is my Oritis,
Thank
my
you.
new beginning. So thank you for that.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the cancers that are going to be you're going to be portraying. That sounds like sort of a misnomer, but yeah, the cancers that you'll be highlighting, for want of a better word.
We did not pick them out of a hat. Late 2018, early 2019, we actually embarked on a project with the Ministry of Health, and we collected all the cancer data that was available to us, looking at cancer in St. Lucia for the last 5 years. We thought that that was an important place to start. You can't be out there talking about cancer unless you have at least some figures to back you up. So our research and our study did not reveal too many things that we did not already know. And the top 5 cancers in St. Lucia are really what we're highlighting in the band, which is where the colors for the t-shirts come. So the top 5 cancers are breast cancer, prostate cancer, cervical cancer, skin cancer, and colon cancer in St. Lucia.
Right.
And so those are represented by the colors that represent the cancers. And that was also a very interesting speaking point because most people associate cancer with pink. And yes, in St. Lucia especially, we tend to talk about cancer in October, which is really Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But for every month of the year, there is at least one, sometimes more than one,
Yes.
type of cancer that is, where the awareness is created for that. And so that again was another educational point where we were telling people that breast cancer, yes, is pink, but prostate cancer is light blue, colon cancer is dark blue, cervical cancer is teal, although we're representing it with lime green, and skin cancer is, you know, you can use either orange or black. And I think even for me as a doctor, one of the figures that stood out for me, which I didn't really expect, was actually skin cancer, because we're always told that Black people are protected from skin cancers, you know, the sun, the effects, etc., etc. But that probably, if you look at the number of cases of cancer, those are pretty high for skin cancer. The good thing, though, is that skin cancers tend not to kill you. So they appear as new spots, almost like moles that look a little bit different. They may be a little bit raised off the skin. They may have some, you know, edges that look a little bit heaped up. And if you go to the dermatologist or to your regular doctor, they will usually advise you that you should remove them. And that's usually it. You know, very many people don't die from skin cancer. There is the malignant melanoma, which is a more deadly type of cancer, but those figures for melanomas are actually a lot less than other types of skin cancers.
And for those of you who don't know what she's talking about, that's the cancer that killed Bob Marley. So just so put it in
Yes,
context, So
exactly.
yeah, everybody knows Bob Marley and everybody knew he had cancer, although there's this conspiracy theory going on. But we
Yes.
know that a cancer killed him and we know it was a skin cancer. So that is the one. So what you're saying is most skin cancers are not malignant,
Well,
not
they're
malignant, but not fatal.
right. So, and they can be easily treated. And so it means though that even as black people, that we should be wearing sunscreen and we should be wearing caps to protect ourselves, and we should not be in the sun for too long. Yes, that might be a bit difficult to do, but just knowing that, the sunscreen is something that we really should be wearing. If we're going to the beach, we should actually be protecting ourselves. So it, like I said, is really an opportunity. Cervical cancer is considered one of those cancers that no woman should die of, because we've had the pap smear for decades. The pap smears are available in all health centers, all gynecologists. And once you've been doing your pap smears, we're able to pick up cancers that are or at least precancerous lesions.
But we still
before
do
they
have women who don't do a pap smear regularly,
Exactly.
yearly.
Exactly. And so the studies showed us that even that is increasing. So yes, we talk about breast all the time, but right behind it is cervical cancer. And that one is a little bit more scary because we really should not be having women die of cervical cancer. So again, we need to go out there and get the message out there that we need to be doing the pap smears. We need to be getting people not to be afraid of getting the pap smear done, create that awareness. The HPV vaccine now is being offered to 11-year-olds, especially the girls, in the hope that it will reduce the number of cervical cancer cases later on. So there's a lot that we are hoping to be able to speak about. And like I said, if you look on our shirts, at the back of the shirts, the messages are there. The front says, "Have you done it yet?" which we thought was a very catchy line.
Yes.
Have you done it yet? That could just mean anything.
Anything, especially within a carnival
Exactly.
concept.
So have you done it yet? And on the back, there are the answers,
Right.
whether it's the screening test. And when I say screening, the test you do before you actually
Get
become the
diagnosed.
symptom,
Right.
develop the symptoms, or if it's just lifestyle changes, so
Right.
whether it's exercise or, just not being too stressed.
Right.
Because stress, I think, really is the icing on the cake for a lot of things. You don't eat healthy, you don't get enough rest, you don't exercise, and then you have stress, which is very easy for all of us in St. Lucia to be overwhelmed by. I think that just really cements a lot of things as it pertains to cancer and a lot of the other diseases that we're seeing.
Now we're running out of time for this segment, so I'm going to extend an invitation for you to come back, because I think there's so much that we need to delve into where cancers are concerned, especially the top 5. I know that I was shocked by the top 5, and I know my viewers may have been shocked as well by the top 5. And there's so many questions that there may be, like for instance, the HPV vaccine for 11-year-olds. Is there an age limit to where it works for persons, and how do you access it and all of that? So we're definitely going to have you come back to really talk about all of those things. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg, really. But before we close off this segment, tell us, are there still spots open for packages if somebody wanted to jump? I mean, Carnival is next week, but you may have just the straggler who decides, okay, I want to do this. I want to make my statement. I want to make my contribution to cancer awareness. How can they do so?
So we have our collection of packages going on from tomorrow till Saturday, and we are encouraging anyone who wants to be registered late, but that's fine. We're encouraging you to come see us at our office, which is in the Carolec building in San Souci. I think most people know it as the old Flow building or old Cable and Wireless building. So if you just come through the gate, the security will direct you to us. And we're open from 9 until, we'll probably extend until like 8 o'clock up until Friday, and then from 10 until 6 on Saturday. So you're welcome to come join us. We still have some spots available.
What has been your biggest sticker in terms of the color, the t-shirt? Or is it's
pink?
Two people, oh yeah, so they ask, they request.
They're pink,
All
yes.
right.
And we have 2 shades of pink. We actually have a lighter pink, which
And a
is
hotter pink.
traditional, and the fuchsia.
Fuchsia, right,
Yes.
yeah.
So most people like
Awesome.
those.
I think a lot of people would gravitate. What's the proportion between male and female revelers? Do you have any idea?
There are more females than males. Maybe 70-30. Yeah.
Right, right.
sure.
And all of the colors are still open, or are you closed up for
Except
pink?
Yeah, there may be one or two left,
Yeah,
but
but we're
yeah,
not talking about that. So the rest of the colors would be light blue for prostate
light
cancer.
blue, dark blue, orange, and green,
Just
lime
let
green.
them know again what they represent. The light blue is for prostate cancer,
Yes, the
but
dark blue is for colon, the lime green is for cervical cancer, and the orange is for skin
so you
cancer.
don't have black.
No, we
No,
don't have
yes,
black.
because although black is the color, but in the hot
In the hot
sun and all
sun,
of
it
that,
would not have
absorbing
worked.
it.
No,
Yeah, no, not so
no,
much.
not at all.
Yes, so thank you so much, and we will have you back before we close,
No
because we're
problem.
going to open the lines, and viewers may want to ask you a few questions, so we'll have you back on
Sure.
before we close. But this is where we end our first segment for this evening. We'll go for a break, and when we come back, we'll have our second special guest this evening. See you at the other side of the break. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. Welcome back, Sinishan. Thank you for staying tuned to what's happening now with Laura. And on my couch right now is my second guest. And I am so proud. I am like a mama bear, a mama pool, everything. Because, Jalabu, that's how we are. We love to claim our own. We formulate our own special breed down in the lab, and we come out with a product that we know is just better than any other. And I'm talking about none other than Miss Carnival 2019, Miss Wenya Vinay, as my special guest. Welcome, Queen Wenya.
Thank you for having me.
How has it been? How does it feel like you're a queen?
Yes, it is still so surreal. I'm still getting used to the title and the cloud that comes with it. I am still getting used to people calling my name because I was so used to being invincible.
So now you have a little idea, because when I first got on TV and people were calling me and thinking, and I'm like,
do I know her?
Or is it because then I realized, when you're on
Yes,
TV, so they
of
probably,
course.
yeah, so now everybody knows your name and everybody's calling you.
Yes.
And they call you so, like, family, like you've known them for years.
Yes, it's
Yes.
like, oh, how are you, my girl? When you and they say the name so properly, it's like, okay, my girl, yes, I'm good.
That's
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
So, how was it on the night? I know your preparation. Tell us a little bit about your preparation. Did you always think that you were going to win?
Not really. I had confidence in myself, but the competition was so tough. The girls were very good. The competition was there. So I never underestimated the other girls that they would be able to beat me. That's why I had to bring my A game on and put my best foot forward and do what I knew best. Yeah.
Now, to just give us a little snippet, a little snapshot into your preparation. What was it like? What did you do? I mean, were you gymming? What were you? I mean, what was it like?
To be honest, I thought this pageant would have been easy breezy. But then I realized that it was the total opposite. It kind of reminded me of police training school or cadet camping. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was really serious business, and the committee, sorry, they wanted to shape these 8 beautiful young ladies with a really strong regimen to become the queens that we are. And because of that, we developed ourselves holistically, emotionally, physically, and we had daily training, walking training. We had weekly self-development training. We had to gym regularly. It was really rigorous and
Now, it's funny. You were talking and you said it felt like police training camp or cadet camp
yes,
all over again. And for a moment, I had forgotten that you actually are a police officer. So you're used to
yes,
training, and you
yes,
comparing that to, and a lot of the times we see beauty queens and we think, oh, the glamour and all of that, but we don't know about the back.
exactly. You see these girls on stage and you criticize them and you say, oh, all they know how to do is wear makeup and walk on stage, but you don't know all the hard work it took for us to be on that stage and everything that we had to put into ourselves to be able to execute everything that we're doing on the night of the show. It's really hard.
Now, you, we have a video. I'm not sure if it's cued in, but we'll probably have a look at it a little bit later on. But in your platform, you always bring back the fact that your humble beginnings, your parents are farmers, and you grew up on the farm, digging for baja and whatnot. Did you ever think at that point when you were a little girl growing up that you would have been the swan and grace this stage that a lot of women over the years and over the decades have gone through, have walked, and a lot. When we look at some of the queens from the past, they've actually made something of themselves. They're accomplished women. They're not just known for their reign as a beauty queen. Did you ever think that you would have been at the same level with them at some point?
Well, when I was younger, pageantry wasn't really one of my interests. I was more of a tomboy. While I was growing up, my sister Keisha, she was one of my greatest motivations. She was the one who really motivated me to partaking in these pageants. Yeah, she really helped me. I lived vicariously through her during her pageant days, and then I said, you know what, one day I would really want to do this because I saw it as an opportunity for self-development and growth, to grow physically, emotionally, psychologically. So, and I also wanted a platform to showcase my talent. And as a policewoman, it is actually like I wanted to be reacquainted with my feminine side because pageantry is deemed to be a contradiction. Most people say, what? You're a police officer, why are you taking part in this pageant? Yes, so I wanted to be the best of all worlds and I wanted to develop myself holistically. This is why I actually did this pageant. Yeah.
Now, you talked about your talent. And boy, in this little slight figure, who would have thought such a big voice, could come out of that? And I mean, I knew you as a singer. I mean, I knew you sang, but whoa, unless you've heard you belt out some of those big notes, it's like, whoa. And as a police officer, I can understand what your kind of reserve, because you don't really
Yes.
always get an opportunity to explore the various
Yeah,
sides of you,
of course.
right?
I wanted to expose my talent. That was one of my main focuses for this year. I wanted to put myself in the spotlight and in the limelight to show people that I am not just a police officer and I have talent and I could do whatever I set my mind to regardless of my job. Yeah.
So what's your platform going to be now that you're queen?
Well, I intend on being a positive contributor to the lives of young people, especially the young women in my community. I would like to teach them that this is not just a crown. This crown represents advocacy, it represents leadership, it represents being a good role model, and teaching them that there are so many opportunities that life has to offer and the things that they could aspire to be than just settling to become teenage mothers. But even if they are teenage mothers, they could push
It's not the end of the
themselves. Yeah,
world.
it's not the end of the world. They can push themselves to becoming the best versions of themselves and being a good role model to their children so that they do not continue the negative cycles of teenage pregnancy.
Wonderful. I like that. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of the times people think, okay, the day's over,
Yeah.
the contest is over, and
course.
so you can just revert to being your usual self or slink back into oblivion.
Yes.
I have a feeling that this is not going to be your lot, that you're not going to be
No.
the invisible Wenya. You're going to be, you're going to use that platform, I hope,
Of course.
of your reign to really
Yes.
impact, especially as a police officer. And I go back to that because a lot of the times police officers get a bad rap.
Yes.
So now you have and a gorgeous face, by the way, police
Yes.
officer, for the Royal Seneca Police Force. So we have a face to attach to that.
Yes.
And you're also queen. And so you can get to marry the two.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, one of the things I wanted to just touch on a little bit, in my preamble, I spoke a little bit about parents who, not necessarily as positive, and you talked a little bit about that earlier. Positive role models in the children's lives, the things that they say, the way that they behave towards the children. And a lot of the times when we talk about bullying, we talk about bullying children on children, but we don't really see it happening as adults. Like we too as adults can be
Yes,
bullied. What do you think about that, and how do you think as a queen you're going to be able to were you ever bullied though as a child?
Well, bullying comes in all shapes and forms. And as you know, I grew up in a really close-knit family, a household, and we used positivity, determination, and of course, prayer to overcome the obstacles and any challenge that may have come our way. And as a child, a last child, I have no whatsoever. I do not support cyberbullying and bullying in any way, shape, or form. I do not conform to negativity or judgments. And like someone told me this week, because I've been experiencing it online, and this person told me, you know what, keep your head held high. Do not dim your light for anyone else. Do not give anyone the opportunity to have anything over your head. And because you know the purpose of your life, and only you and God knows the direction that you want to take in life. So I have been dwelling on that and taking that into consideration. I'm not going to stoop below anyone's level, and and even if I am the kind of girl, I have really thick skin, and I'm not going to allow anything to penetrate it. And I would like to say to the young children, especially those who are victims of bullying, keep on doing you. Be the best version of yourself. Do not stoop to the bully's level. Remember that your purpose in life is, remember what you are about. And because only you and God knows what is in store for you. So always be positive. Yes.
I love that message because and I'm reminded again, your family. You spoke about your family and how close,
Yes.
and boy, how close you guys are.
Of
How is
course.
Daddy and Mommy feeling right now? I mean, you spoke about your older sister earlier. You talked about Keisha, and Keisha, everybody knows Keisha is like, if anybody can be obsessed about pageantry, it's your sister Keisha.
Yes.
So I guess your family and your mom and dad is in particular are used to, okay, Keisha is doing another pageant, and Keisha is like,
Yes.
okay, that's part of the course. But now the baby of the family
Yes.
is walking in her steps
Of
and
course.
shining in her own light. How? And I know your parents are so. I remember when I was younger, and I need to put this in there. I remember
Yes.
when I was younger, I must have been, I was a teenager, so that means you guys were way younger.
Yes.
And I remember your mom. She was talking to my mom, and she was saying, and that is one of the reasons. And this is what the conversation took hold of my mind. And this
Yes.
is why I want my girls to have everything, and I'm stop at
Yes.
nothing to ensure that they have everything, all the
That's my
resources
mom.
that they need to excel. And I thought, wow, and that never left my mind. Never left
Yeah.
my mind. And I see how your dad is so proud of his girls.
Of
I mean, you have a
course.
brother,
Yes.
but you guys are a lot of girls,
Yes.
and your mom is always like Mama Pool about her children.
Yes.
How are they taking all of this in?
Well, like I said, I did this pageant for my sister. I wanted to make her proud. But to answer your question, my family is very proud of me. They're very happy that I won not just the crown, but they're happy that I went after my dream and I pursued one of my goals for this year, and that I improved myself holistically. Also, they're very proud of the fact that I was able to manage my time between my job and these pageants. And at the end, I was able to get the self-fulfillment that I wanted, and it shoved up to they were able to experience the same fulfillment for me, and they were very proud. Even if I didn't win the crown, they would still see me as the queen in their eyes.
Right. And I guess they would be even more happier. I mean, because
Yes.
you won the crown, but you
Of
also won a
course.
number of titles. I mean, you won
Yes.
Best Talent, you won Best in Evening Wear,
Yeah.
won Best Interview. Now let's talk about Best Interview, because I remember having a conversation with you
Yes.
before the
You gave
pageant,
me a lot of
and
tips
you
indeed.
said that was your
Weakest.
weakest.
Yes,
Your
it
weakest,
was.
and in your weakest out of the weakest was
Yes.
impromptu and spontaneous
Yes,
questioning.
it was.
How was that on that? And you won best interview.
I did. It
Wow.
was my weakest point, and I really wanted to have a good account of myself in that segment. So I worked really hard, tireless nights, always studying. My team, they gave me quite a bit of content, so I was able to manipulate it to answer any question that was thrown at me, and I thank them for that tremendously. And I'm still working on my interview skills, because it is still one of the most difficult things for me, especially public speaking. But then I'm right now, I think that I am overcoming that challenge, and I am doing really good at it from this point.
Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. I am so proud of you. I mean,
Thank
because
you.
when a young person says to me, public speaking is the death of me, and
Yes.
to overcome it. And I come across a lot of people who aren't able to
Indeed.
overcome that, and to overcome it to the point where you actually got best interview. That's tremendous. That's tremendous.
Thank you.
um so do you think you'll be doing any other pageants?
Well, a lot of persons have been telling me that I can be very successful in pageantry, and I do believe so as well, because I've given a good account of myself, especially as I've been crowned as a carnival queen, sorry. But at the end of the day, it's not just about the clothes you wear, the beauty, the glitz and the glam. It takes a lot. Pageantry takes a lot of hard work. Firstly, you have to have humility. You need to be able to take constructive criticism. You need to be able to be resilient. Secondly, you need to be able to grow with self-development. You need to be prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally before you hit that stage. You have to have the proper mindset before you have to go through so much rigorous training until you are ready to be able to be worthy to wear that crown. It's not just about the glitz and the glamour. And I need to tell any young person who think it's just about that, it's not.
Yeah, because I know a lot of young girls
Yes.
who look at other people and say, "Oh, I could do better than her."
Yeah,
But that's all she did. I could do better than that.
of
And then
course.
once they've gotten into it, they realize, "Oh my gosh, it's not what I thought."
Yeah,
And because they came in with this sort of arrogant
exactly.
outlook, they
Yeah,
fail. And then it's really hard on their psyche,
yeah,
because it's like, oh my gosh, I failed in such a fantastic form in front of so many
exactly.
people. Like, how do I recover from that? What would your takeaway message be to any young person who has taken part in the pageant before but did not come out victorious with the crown on their head?
My experience with pageantry, I've realized that it grooms you to becoming a better individual holistically. You grow psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And just the fact that you have to engage with a plethora of personalities, your emotional intelligence gets so much better. You are able to differentiate between assertion and aggression. You are able to maintain your composure. You are able to anticipate the emotions of your peers, which is just a great characteristic that everyone needs in their life. And because of this, I would definitely recommend pageantry to anyone who is seeking personal growth.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's the other question I wanted to ask. I wanted to lead
Yes.
into that. A lot of people have said that pageantry is archaic. It's just,
Yes.
glorifying like beauty, placing a lot of
Yeah.
emphasis on beauty. But like you've said earlier, there's a lot of preparatory work that goes into it.
Of course.
It's not just about the skin, the superficial beauty.
Yes.
You have to work on your body. You've got to work on your mind.
Exactly.
You've got to work on your psyche. You've got to be so
Yes.
prepared to be out there.
Exactly.
I've seen girls on the night of competition not win and literally just walk off the stage and not
Yeah.
show conciliatory
Yeah.
overtures towards the queen or the other contestants.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's not just about the crown, it's about the experience and the way that you use it to better yourselves as an individual in society. So, because my first two pageants, I didn't win, but I used it as I just took it in a positive light so that the next time that I go up, I will be able to learn from my past experiences and use it for a positive outcome.
Right. So you were building
Yes,
your foundation,
exactly.
and I'm glad we're almost out of time for this segment, but I'm glad that you brought that up, because every experience is a foundation. Every
Yes,
experience is a stepping stone to getting
indeed.
there. So first off the bat, you will not win. You may not
Yes,
come out victorious, but you can learn something. There's always a takeaway from that. You can always
that's
learn
true.
something and add to that your repertoire of what
That's
not
right.
to do and what to do, what to enhance
Exactly.
to get better.
Yeah.
So you're a singer.
Yes, I am. I'm a vocalist, and
You're
I'm still getting there. I'm not the best in the world, but then
Is it a
I.
passion? Because
It
when you sing,
is.
it's like I see a different Wenya when you're singing. I don't see police officer Wenya. I don't
Yes,
see
you
horseback
see.
riding Wenya, and we didn't even touch on that. I don't see
Yeah.
horseback riding the way Wenya. I don't see, the down to earth Wenya. I see, and I'm always taken aback. I'm like, whoa, where is that
Yeah.
coming from? Is that something that you would like to explore further?
Of course, it is my passion, and I aspire to go forth on a international level with my singing one day. But like I said, it takes time and a lot of preparation. And I mean, music, it releases my inhibition and it gives me joy. And I'd really like to be able to express myself through my music one day.
Yeah.
And yes,
Last week I had Tennyson John on
yes,
here, and he was saying that as a child he always saw himself on a stage. He always envisioned himself on a stage where people were coming to see him. He didn't know when, he didn't know how, he didn't even know if it was possible, but he knew that that was what he wanted. And today
exactly.
he is TJ and the project, and
Yes,
touring all over the world and all of that. So dreams do come true, and that was his
of
takeaway
course.
message last week. Dreams
Yes,
do come true. You just have to pursue it,
of
you know.
course.
And I think St. Lucia would be a better country for having a talent
Yes,
like yours.
indeed. Because when I entered 2019, I had a mantra. I was like, 2019 is mine. And one of the goals that I accomplished this year, I wanted to perform at jazz, and I did just that at
Yay!
Labrie.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and secondly, I wanted to take part in the National Carnival Queen, which I did, and I was
And
victorious.
victorious,
Yes.
yes.
So
Check, check.
everything that I wanted to do is coming to pass. And I just because of the mere fact that I spoke it into existence and I worked towards it,
Right.
all my dreams are coming true. And I'm so happy just because God just gave me the ability to pursue everything that I wanted to do.
Yes, and I
Yes.
like that. And a lot of the times you say we speak it into existence and we don't do anything about it,
Yeah,
but you
but you have to
actually
work
work
towards
towards it.
exactly.
And boy, I heard about that jazz performance. I literally fell asleep and did
Yes.
not wake up until after it was over. Sigh, but the
Yes.
story of my life. Sometimes my
Of
body just shuts
course.
down on me. But I heard and I saw little snippets of it, and I was like, whoa, that catsuit was something.
Yes, indeed.
And and sometimes that's at odds with the
Yes.
Wenya that we know
Of
when you
course.
come out there and you're all glamorous and all done up, and
Yes.
it's like, whoa, it's a different ball game. It's a different and I think that's your platform during this
Yes.
pageant, that you wanted to show different facets of you. You're not just a police officer. Now,
Yes.
speaking of police officer, how are your colleagues taking it all in? Are they still shocked and little Wenny?
Yes.
I mean, it is little Wenny, I'm sure, for your classmates when you decided
Yes.
to become a police officer, because
Of
little
course.
Wenny becoming a police officer, and now little
Yes.
Wenny being, you know, what has it been
Carnival
like
Queen.
for your colleagues?
Well, the support is really strong. Today, the commissioner called me and he told me how proud he was of me, and he asked me how, in whatever way possible, that he could help me for my arena, and I was very appreciative of that. My colleagues are so happy for me. They congratulate me. They congratulated me. Every day I'm getting a new message from Winnie. I'm so proud of you. You see, I told you that you'd be able to do this. So I was very emotional, and I was very happy that I could have made them proud. And I was the first police officer to actually take part in a beauty pageant and be able to be victorious at the
Yes.
end of the day.
And
So
I
I'm
think the
very
police
proud of
force needs
myself.
a little positivity.
Of course.
Yeah. Can we see what department do you work in right now?
Well, right now, I was recently transferred to MICOD, so I work at Beat
You
and Patrol.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So can we see another transfer soon to maybe CRB,
You
Community
never know.
Relations?
Of
I mean,
course.
I think that's a shoe in. I mean, we
Yeah.
just got transferred and everything else, but we're speaking it into existence.
Of course.
And I mean, for your platform, for your reign and everything, it would be great if we saw more of you, and for sure that you can
Yeah.
impact more positively, especially you mentioned about young people and wanting to help them.
Yes.
And I think your sister also, Keisha, is doing a
A
fabulous
lot
job, and she wants
in the
to do more
community.
of that mentoring of young people. And she started already,
Indeed.
and the two of you, I think the two of you together could be,
A great
yeah,
team.
a great
Of
team, the Vinay
course.
sisters, and the legacy begins,
Of
right?
course. Yeah. So if I'm given the opportunity to join the community relations branch, that is where officers are allocated to different schools, and then they go out and teach. They mentor the young children, especially the troubled ones in society. They help them however way they can. They make sure that their grades are up and they stay out of trouble. So if I was given the opportunity, I would definitely go for it and use my platform to be a positive influence in the lives of these young children.
Well, the police commissioner is calling you,
Yes.
so slip that in. By
Yeah.
the way, boss,
Yes.
what say you about transferring me
To
to the community relations
CRE.
branch? I mean, there's
Of
so much
course.
I can do. Here's my
Yes.
prospectus type of thing. So that's awesome. We're out of time for this segment, but when we come back,
Okay.
we'll open the line so that you can interface with both of my guests. The
Okay.
number to call would be on the screen, as usual, 457-988, something thereabouts. I think I just screwed up that whole number, but it will be on the screen. 451-9788. Sorry, 451-9788, and WhatsApp is 284-6536. And you can also send us your emails at laurajeppy@gmail.com. Coming right up after the break. Stay tuned. back and thank you for staying tuned to what's happening now with Laura. And so I am joined by Dr. Tamara. Is it Tamara? Yes. Okay. I just had a senior moment right there, and I said, "Oh my gosh, her name is not Tamara, but it is." Dr. Tamara Remy from the Cancer Society of St. Lucia, and of course our lovely Queen Wenya. Wenya, I almost say Wenla, because your name, it's like, and our Creole thing is like, it's very appropriate. Your name, the La Wen. And Wenya. So our queen, Wenya Vinay, Carnival Queen 2019. So yes, guys. So the lines are now opened. The number to call is 4519788. And of course, you can send us your WhatsApp messages on 284-6536 and emails at laurajapier@gmail.com. And somebody said to me while we were on break, with all the accomplishments of Labrie, should other communities begin to study and learn from Labrie? I mean, strategic plan, zoning plan, B&B, inventor, credit union, and now we have a queen. I mean, of course, why not? We formulate all these things in the lab, go in there and, work out little formulas, and voila, success. But like when you said earlier, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of determination. You can't just put it out there into existence and think, oh, it will just magically appear. No, you've got to do a lot of hard work. You've got to put in all the sweat and tears. And tears. Were there ever any moments where you cried during your preparation?
Well, I'm surprised there were not any tears. I never shed any tears because I think I am able to internalize things, and I grew up in a really tough household, so I was able to handle anything, any challenge that was thrown at me, and I think that I possess the mental capacity that would encourage me to overcome anything that came my way right now. So
but you cried on the night, though.
On the night I did, but during my training I never did. And I was quite surprised that this leading up. I thought I would break down at a certain point, but I never did, and I was quite impressed and happy that I didn't.
Yes. But some tears are allowed, especially on the night when you actually realize that you've won and you.
After all my hard work and all the sweat, all the back and forth with my job and traveling, I was just so happy that it was all. I got what I worked hard for. Not that the other girls didn't work hard for it as well. We are all queens, but then I was reaping the benefits of my hard work and my sweat. So I was very happy.
What about, and earlier I know we talked about, Dr. Remy, we spoke about volunteers, and we talked about whether the band would have been something that you do annually, and you said, well, for limitations of resources, particularly human resources, it may not necessarily be something that you may do, because it takes a lot of work and a lot of volunteers to put together. I put together events sometimes, and I know what human resources we're talking about. Is there room? I guess I'm saying all of this to say, is there room in your camp for, say, a queen to help?
Of course. We invite everybody, because the cause is real. None of us is actually spared at all. Just this afternoon, we had 2 kids helping us to do the packages, and they were very much involved and excited just to be part of the whole process, and I think it's important that we start in the primary schools, and like our queen was saying, she would love to be part of a community program, and that's part of what we want to establish as well, because you need to get people involved. They need to understand what's going on, and I think unless they possess the self-empowerment and the information, that's the only way we're actually going to effect some change. And I think we need to be starting with the young ones, and in order to see a change as we get older. So we're encouraging everybody, we would love to have the queen come and jump with us, because she will probably understand the cause. I don't think Labrie has been spared at all in terms of cancer patients, and we all know somebody or of somebody. So we encourage everybody, and certainly the volunteers, dealing with cancer, just dealing with anything that ails our society, really depends on that passion and that empathy that we get from people around us. I think that's what makes us even stronger and to be able to get through the process. So anyone who wants to help us to volunteer, we encourage you. And this is not just for the band. This is just the Cancer Society,
Cancer Society
in general,
yes.
because that's what it was founded on initially. You know, the volunteerism of the persons who are on the board, the persons who would help out, the persons who go into the communities. That I find in St. Lucia has kind of dwindled. You know, people get involved when it affects them personally.
Yes,
And it's a little bit late sometimes. So I think understanding what people have to go through, and it doesn't have to just be financial. It's just giving up your time to go with somebody to a visit.
And you can activate and come in and help and put in the time, because
or even to go with somebody to a doctor's visit. Means a lot. So any type of volunteerism, you know, we are open to and willing to just accept anyone who wants to.
Of course, I'll be willing to help in any way possible.
So see, we make things happen.
Yes.
We save a T-shirt for you. So which color would you like?
Purple, if there is any.
The post, we might find a pink for you.
Of course, thank you.
So you talked about a couple of kids were helping you put the packages, and it just struck me. Do we have a rising incidence of juvenile cancer patients, or is that not yet something that is?
We have children's cancers, and the good thing is that they respond really well to their treatments. And the other good thing is that a lot of times when we have our kids who are diagnosed, our neighboring countries like Martinique are very willing to help. So a lot of our kids go off to Martinique for assistance. We have a Sick Kids initiative that is based here. So even in terms of diagnosis, etc., funding, and the types of cancers that kids get actually is very different to the kinds of cancers that adults get. We as adults, our cancers reflect our lifestyles and the environmental changes around us and the effects of the environment on us. Whereas kids tend to have something that's more genetically correlated. So they're born with some sort of mutation or defect, and it takes very little to switch that on again. And so just their spectrum of disease is really different. In terms of the numbers, I think they've been consistent in terms of the numbers. I don't know that we've seen that much of an increase. There's a completely different registry for kids' cancers, but we do see kiddies' cancers.
Nice. Did I say nice?
Yes,
I mean,
you did.
not nice, but I mean nice that we have assistance for them. Now, I wanted to ask. Oh, somebody said, Rick, so what am I, chopped onion? No, you're not chopped onion. And I said, we have a queen. But we all know, and that's so not like Rick. The ego thing is so not like Rick, but he is our first from Lavery on the world stage. I think we have a call. Do we have a call?
Hello, Laura.
Hi, good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Can
Hello,
you turn down the
Wanda.
volume of your television? I think we have a very serious feedback.
My TV's not on.
Oh, it's not on. Oh.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Wenya.
Hello.
How are you? It's Amin. How are you?
I'm doing great, Amina. What about
Well,
you?
hello. I mean, I'm going to steal Rick's line. What am I, chopped onion? I mean,
No, I don't know if you would have remembered me, Laura. That long,
vaguely.
you know.
Don't worry, that's for another show. We'll do it afterwards.
It absolutely is. I just just calling to wish Wenya, congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you very much.
I was fortunate to have met Wenya from the audition process. And there was, the X factor about you that, you can't tell a contestant until the entire process is done. So I was able to see your progress from the beginning to the middle to the end, and I definitely saw your growth. So I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And of course, 2020, JC's is returning to St. Lucia, right?
Of course, indeed. I'm speaking it into existence. I'm claiming it. I'm definitely going to make you proud.
Yes. Let me ask you a question.
Certainly.
When, you were the one who asked Wenya her question.
I did.
And she answered.
Yeah.
I may have seen a little something because I know you. How did you feel when she answered that question, when she gave her answer?
Okay, so the thing about me is that I felt like I had a personal connection with all 8 contestants because, again, I judged the audition and I was around a few times through social functions and at training. So I felt like they were my little sisters, and I knew a few of the girls had difficulty
Mm-hmm.
prior to when you're answering.
Mm-hmm.
My approach to the four that I interviewed was to make them as comfortable as possible,
Mm-hmm.
hence the banter before the actual question.
Icebreakers and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
But when you started, I knew she was onto to something just because her thought process, it was evident from the beginning that she had listened and she had analyzed what the question was. And, she spoke about social media, she spoke about, you know, gay rights, she spoke about equality. And the question didn't ask for 10 reasons. It just asked for a major change. So one would have sufficed.
Anyone would have sufficed. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And there's so much, Laura. There's the biggest social experiment in the world, which is Barack Obama. America gave the world the first black president, and then they reversed and gave the world the first openly racist president. So there was so much that I felt by reading or just paying attention to current events, paying attention to the news, that anybody could have had those. But then again, being on stage with the lights and the judges and the audience,
it could be
different
intimidating.
altogether.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what Wenya had throughout, even from the opening was just a comfort level with, which comes from somebody who has done their homework. Because I have been through the experience myself when I did SNSG in 2006, and my chaperone always said to me, these races are won in the pits. You do your homework, you do everything before the night.
Right.
So when you get on the night, you simply deliver. And that was consistent and evident with Wenya's performance. When you came out in the dress, I was like, okay, nice dress, but I'm not sure. And then she started posing in it, and I'm like, okay, this girl clearly put that dress on before and posed in the mirror to see every angle that she looked at, and she manipulated that.
Right.
So I think Wenya is like a case study for what to do when you're entering a pageant, which is take it serious, don't take yourself too serious, and just give it, put your best foot forward.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Thank you so much. I mean,
Thank
I
you.
always like when you have one of these contests that you can get feedback from persons who have been there, who can see what we don't see, what we don't know as viewers, And I like that dissertation. I like the way you broke it down and everything. And you're right. Those contests are won before the day of the competition. They won through your preparation, and if you know that you've done everything that you could possibly do to prepare yourself, when you get on stage, your comfort level and your confidence zone is you're just in another world.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. And I mean, Lucians, everybody will have an opinion. The only opinion that matters really are the people responsible for choosing a winner based on the criteria. And which is why, we mentioned what the judges are looking for, which is why I think for the first time in a long time, there was no really big controversy as to who the winner was, because it was clear cut. All the girls gave their best foot. They gave, the best of their ability. But there's something about a Usain Bolt, in a race with other athletes. You always know. So then you can tell. But when you're hands down, she did. I know she put in all the effort. She put in a lot of work. It showed. Congratulations to you. I'm sure you have great things ahead. With your win comes a lot of exposure, and the men will start coming and take my advice.
They can stop right there.
Let me go through the application form, declare your assets on paper. Then you have 7 zeros behind that one we don't want to talk. But, so again, congratulations. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Next day, you have 365 days to get ready.
Of course.
I'm sure you'll do big things.
I will.
Thank you, Amin. It's been a pleasure as usual having this chat with you. Thank you so much.
Love you, bye.
Bye. And I love the way he put that. I mean, and Amin is just indomitable. He just has this spirit about him.
He was a wonderful host.
Yes, absolutely. I've known Amin for years and years and years. And this is vintage Amin. And I mean, he's going to vet. And he's going to vet. He's going to vet all the applications and all of that. All right, as usual. Somebody says, hello, I'm watching your show, and I would like to ask the Queen a question. How do you think the other contestants felt when you were crowned? I think we have a call. We have another call. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I'd just like to say congratulations to the Reading Carnival Queen.
Thank you.
I must say it seems everyone is very impressed with the results.
Thank you very much.
Throughout the years, sometimes you hear this controversy, people saying this one should win this one. But this year, I think everybody just came together and said, well, they think she's definitely was the winner. Definitely is the winner. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so somebody was saying, how did the other contestants feel when you were crowned queen? I'm not sure how you want to deal with that, because how do you know how other people feel?
I wouldn't know how they felt. But in my past experience, when I wasn't crowned, when you know that you put a lot of hard work into something you still end up, even if you say that you want to do it for just for fun, you'd still be disappointed. So I guess they were disappointed, but as long as you know that you put your best foot forward, you should be very proud of your performance and whatever you brought to the table, because sometimes your best is not, is someone else's best is better than yours. Not that I am better than anybody, but I think that the girls gave a good account of themselves, and all of them are queens, and they should not be hard on themselves.
And as you said earlier, every experience is a stepping stone to get in.
Exactly, to
I mean, you
greatness.
had two other pageants where you did not win,
Exactly.
and now you've won the crown. We have
Yes.
another call online. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Laura, let me add my congratulations for the Carnival Queen. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Thank
we can
you.
hear you.
Okay. Gorgeous, that young lady.
I don't know why you guys have that crown on her, though. I think the carnival thing was over. Should let her come here in all her glory.
She's a queen for a year, and she has every right to wear her
now want to
crown.
see
Of course.
you now want to see her without the gear, you know?
Not to worry. Not to worry. We have
I'm sure
365
you'll bring her
days.
back. I'm sure she'll come back.
Of course.
Well, what's the prize this year? I missed that.
Yeah. What was the prize this year?
Well, I'm not too sure what the prices are as
Oh,
yet.
God, not again.
We are going to have
Not
a
again. Let's
ceremony
forget
where
it.
we
Let's
are.
move on.
Yes.
Oh, forget
There'll
it. Let's
be,
move on. Not again.
And that
I
speaks,
would
Rick. That speaks to to her character. She's not concerned about the prizes. She
Yes.
wanted to do
For
this
self-development and
right. So
self-growth.
she's gotten
yeah.
her prize, and everything
Exactly.
else, I guess, is
wanted
icing
what?
on the
Self-development
cake.
is what
You
I
wanted
was
what?
What's
looking
that?
for.
Not again?
She didn't do it for the prizes. She did it for she's gotten her prize already. She won, and for overcoming certain things.
You know,
So
take some advice from an old guy.
yeah,
Take some advice from an old guy. Go for the gold. Go for the prize. Usain Bolt is going for the prize. Endorsements. So pity we ain't got that. But I called primarily to say to her that it was the perfect answer. The gentleman asked her what it felt. How did she think the other competitors felt? And she answered perfectly, and then she had to be a nice little queen and go on and give some more. But the original answer was perfect. I don't know. Winners don't know how losers feel.
it's true.
Congratulations, Laura.
Yes.
She looks very nice tonight. Especially
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you
And
very
I'm
much.
saying thank you, Rick, because that's
Yeah.
my girl right there. I
Yeah.
mean, you know.
Yes.
Okay. Good luck,
Thank
young
you.
lady.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people are asking, and I mean, I guess you'll get a lot of that in
Yes.
the ensuing weeks, and as you go around making your media rounds and everything else,
Yeah.
you will get a lot of the congratulations and a lot of
Yes.
the positive motivations. And I like something
Exactly.
that you said earlier, is that you're not going to surround yourself with negativity.
Yeah, I'm
That
not going to
helps you
entertain it.
exactly. That doesn't do anything
Yes.
for you. So let's just
Exactly.
leave that where it is and then progress and move on
Of course.
to the next. So I was saying before we started getting the calls that really and truly Rick was our first, put us that little dot on the map of St.
Yes.
Lucia,
Nice.
much less on a wider on
Of
a
course.
worldwide
Thank you.
platform, and to think that you one of we have to
Yes.
try to get you in that little museum that we have. But we haven't had
The
a carnival
heroes, right?
queen.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't had one. So right next to your dad, Dr. Rami,
Yes.
we'll put right up there. I mean, it's something good. How do you think? How do you feel about mentoring the next queen? And I'm saying the next queen because a lot of
Of
the young
course.
ladies in library have been talking, and they think
Yes.
now it's achievable, now that they have an actual queen from library, that maybe they want to try to do that.
Of
Would
course.
you be willing to work with them in the future?
Of course, I would use my platform and I would encourage them. I would be a positive influence on them, and I would try to make them into a better version of themselves so that they won't just try to emulate me, but be
Right.
better than I was on the night of my show.
Right. And I think
Yes.
and I think I'm going back to what Amin said. Um, I'm going back to what Amin said when he said, you have to that the shows are won before. So you have to put in the
Exactly.
hard work before. You've got to
Yes.
identify what your talent is. I think a lot of girls come on stage and they're not giving the best version of themselves
Themselves,
because they
yeah.
maybe chose a talent that is not best suited to them.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing. So I'm glad that you're doing this. Somebody said here, was she a cadet and is she a police officer? Yes,
Yes,
you were a
I
cadet,
am.
and
Yes.
yes, you are a
And
police
I'm
officer.
considering going back into the cadet corps and giving off my services to Volunteer St. Lucia, a Labrie chapter.
Very good.
Yes, and become a positive influence on the lives of the people in the community using my title, however big or small it may be.
Now, I think the
Yes.
person who said that is going to be very happy that you said you're going to go back into the cadet corps because they're huge. I mean, if there's anybody who's obsessed
Yes.
about the cadet corps, is this individual.
Yes, we'll
So,
be celebrating
yeah,
our anniversary on Saturday, so I want to make an appearance for that.
awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. It would be nice to see you in fatigues and your
Of
crown.
course.
You know what I mean? That would be a riot to see you
Yes.
in your fatigues and your crown. Yes? We have another call? Okay, so again, my gosh, we're running quickly out of time. And these days, you know, the producers are trying to keep me on my feet because I'm always taking time, stealing time here and there. Last words from you, Dr. Remy.
We just want to encourage everybody to come out and support us. St. Lucia Cancer Society. We have a list of sponsors that we would really like to use the opportunity to thank. Our lavender sponsors, DBS, MNC, our pink sponsors, Guardian Group, First National Bank, Sagicor, Harbor Club, Renwick and Company Limited, our light blue sponsors, West Indies Shipping, Bryce & Co. Limited, Carolec, First Caribbean International Bank, Digicel, Excel Science Limited, Tapia Hospital, HTS Radio 100, our orange sponsors, Choice Media Network, PKF, Rituals, Flow, Blue Waters, Valtor Building Supplies Limited, Tiles Plus, St. Lucia Center, Big Gardens Resorts, OECS, Vibe Radio, St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, and our special partners, IFET, Lighting and Power Rentals, Safari, Swagger, Zenobia Pro Events, and the unique group from Antigua who helped with our design for the logo.
Oh, I love that logo, by the way.
Yes.
So that's awesome. Kudos to them. I love it, love it, love it, love it. It's just, it's different.
Yes.
You know, you don't get that
Yes.
very often. And whoa, that was a long list.
Yes, corporate
So
St.
I'm
Lucia.
glad to hear that corporate St.
Yes.
Lucia has really come out to support you guys because what you're doing is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, I lost my grandmother to breast cancer. I was a teenager and I still miss her presence tremendously. And I always felt like I wish I could do something about it. I always wish that, and I know she didn't have to die. And it's one of the things that you said earlier, your body's talking to you, but you're ignoring it until it's too late. And that's one of the things, the takeaways that I have and I want you, St. Lucia, to have is that your body talks to you. Your body tells you I'm tired. Your body tells you I'm sick. And a lot of the times you just, you know, I ain't no conkles. I get strong. I'll get over it. It's just a bug. I'll get over it. And then you realize, yeah, it is a bug, but it's one of those super bugs, and you can just get rid of it with drinking lots of orange
Water.
juice or water or, you know, one of our homemade remedies. So please, 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 when your body speaks to you, listen.
Yes, mommy.
You know?
I hope you're listening.
Ah, good. Because we do that, you know,
Yes.
especially our
Yes.
older ones. And one of the things I wanted quickly before I go back to Wenya, with the children, do you find that it comes at you diagnose, or the diagnosis comes at an earlier stage than for adults?
In terms of
Whatever cancers
stage,
that they have, yes. Stage.
sometimes not really, not really. But because it's a different type of cancer, they do well regardless.
Because I would have thought that they would have picked up, because moms in particular have a way of, I'm not going to go to the doctor for myself, but my child has a cold 5 times a year, and 5 times a year I'm going to go through that whole ritual of taking to the doctor and making sure everything is okay.
But the kids,
So I
though,
was
it's a little
hoping-
bit less specific, and sometimes with the babies, they're unable to tell you.
Right,
But you
right.
do have a very good point that the mothers or the parents, you know, mother or father, will probably be paying a lot more attention, so they'll pick up. But they're very non-specific signs. Some are very obvious, and others, you know, like they may not be putting on weight as you expect them to.
Right,
Something
right.
is just a little bit off.
A little bit off, yes. But again, as I said, I'm extending that invitation. So we will be talking.
Yes.
Either I'm be talking to you or Suzette, to have you come back, because I think it's so important. There's so much that we need to delve into, and maybe we can break it down a little bit and have one every time cancer awareness comes up,
Sure.
so that we can really
Sure.
devote much time into, because I
Sure.
think it's very, very
That would
important.
be at least once a month.
That would be at least once a month. So hey, I anything for giving back to society. I mean, I lost my
course.
grandmother. I don't think anybody else has to lose a loved one through
likewise.
cancer.
Exactly. Yes.
When you take away your parting words.
Yes, I would like to thank everyone for their unwavering support throughout this pageant journey, especially my sponsors, the Lavry Credit Union.
Hey, better
We
than a
are
bank.
not a bank, we are better. I really wanted to wear my sash to come to this, but then my chaperone was like, no, 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 you have to wear your Carnival Queen sash, which I forgot, sorry.
But that's okay. That's
crown
Yes,
is
the
on.
crown is here,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that's okay. But then I'd just like to thank my family members, my mom most especially, Keisha. I'd like to thank Delzy. He told me to send a special shout out to him. Everyone who assisted me throughout this pageant journey, I'd like to thank you. On this was for you, my community. Everything I did was for you, to make you proud, and I'm happy that I was able to establish that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You guys have been so wonderful. I'm calling you Keisha now. When yeah, because I mean Keisha and I really could be closer. And so I know, like right now I can imagine her with the smile from ear to ear, just like, oh my gosh, baby sister brought it home, and just been so proud of you. And that's one of the things I love. And I always say family is very important.
Support system.
Very important. How you
paramount.
treat your children will reflect how they're going to treat you when you're older. Parents, that's for you. You know, if you treat them like crap as kids, don't expect when you're in your twilight years that they're going to be magnanimous and be like, oh, well, you treated me like crap, but I'm going to treat you great. It takes a very strong and determined person to not be petty like that. You know, and you're teaching your children things that they're going to carry throughout the rest of their lives. So how you treat them today is how they're going to treat you later on. And it's so important in this world where you're fighting against so many different things to have familial support. Familial support, that is so very, very important. So if I leave anything with you, it's support your children, support the dreams, and help them to grow into the best, and I'm stealing this from when you're the best version of themselves that they could possibly be. Until next week, adieu. You give